Welcome to Iraqi Dinar News, where you receive real and authentic updates about the Iraqi dinar. If you want to stay informed with moment-by-moment developments, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Today's update focuses on a potentially significant political development in Iraq, one that could shape the country's economic direction and, by extension, influence the long-term outlook for the Iraqi dinar. According to the latest reports, Iraq's ongoing political stalemate may finally be approaching a resolution with a new nominee emerging outside of the familiar figures of Nour al-Maliki and Mohammed Shia al-Sudani. This development signals a possible shift in the political landscape, and naturally, it raises important questions about governance, reform, and economic stability. At the center of this story is whether this new nominee can secure enough support in parliament to officially take leadership. Iraq's parliamentary system is complex and often shaped by coalition building, competing interests, and regional influences. So while the emergence of a new candidate is noteworthy, the real test lies in whether he can survive the parliamentary vote and form a stable government. From a financial and economic perspective, political stability is one of the most critical factors influencing investor confidence, both domestically and internationally. For followers of the Iraqi dinar, stability is often discussed as a foundational requirement for any meaningful currency reform. However, it's important to approach this topic with realism. Currency valuation is driven by macroeconomic fundamentals, not speculation or isolated political events. That said, the mention of apparent support from the United States, particularly from policymakers in Washington, D.C., is a factor worth examining carefully. U.S. involvement in Iraq has historically played a role in shaping economic policy, security cooperation, and institutional development. If this nominee is perceived as someone who can maintain constructive relations with the United States, it could translate into continued support for financial reforms, anti-corruption efforts, and economic modernization. However, we should be clear about what this does and does not mean. External confidence does not guarantee internal success. The nominee will still need to navigate Iraq's internal political dynamics, address public demands for improved services and transparency, and manage relationships with various political factions. Iraq's recent history has shown that even internationally backed leaders can face significant domestic challenges. Another key point raised in the news is whether this nominee will pursue necessary economic reforms. This is perhaps the most important element for those tracking the Iraqi dinar. Iraq's economy remains heavily dependent on oil revenues, making it vulnerable to fluctuations in global energy markets. Diversification, fiscal discipline, and banking sector reforms are essential if Iraq aims to build a more resilient economy. In recent years, institutions like the Central Bank of Iraq have taken steps to modernize financial systems, improve currency stability, and align with international banking standards. Progress has been made, but challenges remain, particularly in areas such as liquidity management, exchange rate policy, and integration with global financial networks. If the new leadership prioritizes these reforms, it could strengthen Iraq's economic fundamentals over time. For the Iraqi dinar, this would mean gradual improvement in confidence and stability, rather than sudden or dramatic changes. It's important to emphasize that currency reinstatement or rapid revaluation scenarios, often discussed online, are not supported by mainstream economic analysis. Instead, currencies typically appreciate as a result of sustained economic growth, improved governance, and stable monetary policy. The news also touches on security concerns, specifically the role of armed groups such as the Popular Mobilization Forces. Security is indeed a crucial component of economic development. Investors are far more likely to commit capital to countries where the rule of law is strong and where there is a predictable security environment. Efforts to integrate or regulate such groups under state control have been ongoing, but the situation remains complex. Any significant policy changes in this area would need to be handled carefully to avoid destabilization. From an economic standpoint, improved security conditions can lead to increased foreign direct investment, infrastructure development, and job creation, all of which support long-term currency stability. In the short term, the immediate focus will be on the parliamentary vote and the formation of a functioning government. Markets and observers will be watching closely for signs of cohesion, policy direction, and early reform initiatives. Political clarity alone can have a stabilizing effect even before any concrete economic measures are implemented. Over the medium to long term, the real impact will depend on execution. Will the new leadership follow through on reform commitments? Will they strengthen institutions, reduce corruption, and create an environment conducive to private sector growth? These are the questions that matter most for Iraq's economic trajectory and ultimately for the value and stability of the Iraqi dinar. It's also worth noting that global economic conditions will continue to play a role. Oil prices, geopolitical developments, and international financial trends all influence Iraq's economy. Even with strong domestic leadership, external factors can either support or hinder progress. For Iraqi dinar followers, the key takeaway is to stay informed and grounded in factual analysis. Political developments like this are important, but they are only one piece of a much larger puzzle. Sustainable currency strength is built over time through consistent policy, economic diversification, and institutional credibility. As always, it's essential to avoid making decisions based on speculation or unverified claims. The path to economic stability in Iraq is ongoing, and while moments like this may signal potential progress, they should be viewed within the broader context of long-term development. We will continue to monitor this situation closely and provide you with balanced, fact-based updates as new information becomes available. If this nominee secures parliamentary approval and begins implementing policies, we will analyze those developments and what they mean for Iraq's economy and the Iraqi dinar. Thank you for watching Iraqi Dinar News. If you value responsible and factual updates, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. And as always, please remember that this content is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice.